What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Crunch Time with Katelin. And this episode is going to be a special one because I am having my first guest on, the Pat and Shaker on Twitter. I hope you all enjoy. Now East. So who do you have 1 to 5, Pat?
All right. I think this is going to be one. I think the NL is going to be tightly contested this year. I'm going to number one, and I'll explain why I have these the way I do. Number one, I have the Mets, and I think it's going to be close with the team that is in second, which I will name in a second. But when you look at what the Mets bring to the table, not only do they have outstanding starting pitching with your 3 young ones from last year, but I think what separated them from the second place team is the back of their rotation. I have the Nationals number 2, strictly because they're 4 and 5 starters. Yes, the Mets 5 starter is Bartolo Colon, and I don't really put much stock in that. But Washington doesn't have a Steven Matz in the 4 slot of their rotation. I think they line up equally offensively, but in the end, I think pitching's going to prevail, and I think that's why I have the Mets 1, Nationals 2. Number 3, I have Miami. I think they're honestly just a couple pieces away. They need a couple more arms in the rotation, as well as a couple pieces behind Stanton and Gordon. And then Giancarlo Stanton's got to stay healthy for the most part in order for them to have a successful season. And then, I mean, take your pick for 4 and 5. I think they both blow, Philly or Atlanta. Either of them are going to be bad. I flipped a coin, and I have Philly 4, Atlanta 5.
We are on the same exact pace. I have the Mets, the Nats, Miami, but then I have the Braves 4th and Phillies 5th. Just because if you look at the Atlanta, they at least have some solid young pitching coming up. Yeah. They still have Freddie Freeman. You still have Nick Markakis, who's going to hit around 300. Yeah. So, and they have a way better bullpen. I mean, they still blow, but I mean, you just look at them and you're like,
yeah,
it's pretty bad. But I do agree with you. The Mets, Steven Matz, he's probably the key to making them number 1 and the Nats number 2.
And I think Steven Matz is also a key going forward, and we'll get into postseason in a minute. But I think, when you get to the divisional series, for example, you want to have a good 3-man rotation, which Mets already do, and a good 4th guy if you need one. But when you get to the LCS and World Series, for example, I think you need a good 4-man rotation, even a 5-man at this point. I don't count on Bartolo Colon to pitch in a playoff series, especially not anymore. This isn't the 90s anytime soon. No. And so I think they have the pitching definitely, and I think the biggest thing that also helped them over the Nationals was getting Cespedes back. How he performs, that kind of carries the offense. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and people also forget they'll probably get Zach Wheeler back. So he could probably be a solid bullpen guy. At least in the playoffs. And you shorten that game up. We've seen it last year. Is basically pitching with the Mets. All right, let's go to the Central. So who do you have in the Central? NL Central.
Central, again, this is another race to watch, I think, in the National League. Strictly on the mindset that they gained talent. They improved on paper from last year. I have the Cubs number 1. I think with the addition of Hayward, among others, they are in a good spot to be successful. Along with that young talent like a Chris Bryant, Rizzo, as well as Soler, Russell, people of that nature. I don't think it will be hard to replace Starlin Castro going to the Yankees. That's the beauty with the Cubs and Joe Maddon. What Epstein's doing is that they have enough talent. Number 2, it's the most steady team in baseball, I think, on a yearly basis in the last 5 years, and I have the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think it all plays on the health of Mr. Kong show at shortstop, Jung Ho Kong. If he can stay healthy, because last year, if you remember, they were on a tear, and he broke his leg, and that was it.
Yep.
That was, I mean, it went from being a divisional champion possibility to getting thrown out of a wild card game. So I think I had Pirates number 2, and going back to what the Cubs with gained talent, this team number 3, they lost talent to the Cubs, and I have the Cardinals at number 3. I think they're good, but I think this division is just too stacked for St. Louis to make a run. I also had, and then I have number 4, Milwaukee. I think their pitching's not that great, but they have just enough offensive production to get by. I think Ryan Braun, no matter whatever you get out of him at this point, can be good. And then I have Cincy 5. They are
they are the hot garbage team. Oh my god.
Good Lord. They are terrible. Joey, my positive comment on the Reds, though, Joey Votto, and that's about it.
Yeah, I have, we differ a little bit. I have the Cubs number 1. I think that's probably the easiest.
Oh, absolutely.
Team is, just say, they're probably the best team in baseball going into this year.
I would say.
Number 2, I have the Cardinals. I think they're just so consistent, again, with the Pirates, and it was so hard to pick 2 and 3.
Yeah.
But I can't trust the Pirates to be healthy all year.
Yeah.
So that's just why I picked them number 3. And then I have the Reds 4th and the Brewers 5th, just because the Reds, I think they have just a slight edge pitching-wise. And that's about it.
Okay. Speaking of dumpster fires, real quick, not to cut you off, but if you had to pick one right now, and you not for building for 10 years, for this year, if you had to pick one, Ryan Braun or Joey Votto?
I'm still picking Joey Votto.
Ryan Braun or Jay Bruce?
Ryan Braun.
Okay.
But anyway, it's just because of Joey Votto, and I mean, and that's about it. I do like Iglesias, and I do like Simeon, but that's about it.
Yeah, I would agree.
We'll get to guys who will get traded probably, but Jay Bruce is on that list. I think he'll be gone.
Agreed.
But just with the Brewers, I just they're gonna be hot garbage for a little bit.
Well, I think the whole bottom of that Central is going to more or less be hot garbage. I think with the Brewers, though, honestly, when you look at it, their farm system's so depleted.
It really is.
And I mean, you try to fill it out with some talent, and then you get this, and they're hanging on to the hopes and dreams of pre-steroid Ryan Braun. I mean, I just think they need to overhaul that greatly. I mean, I like Segura. I think Chris Carter's a nice pickup for them from Houston. And then 2 guys, LaCroix and Braun. But, I mean, other than that, and Jimmy Nelson and Matt Garza, they're good in the rotation. But other than that, it's not much to write home about. I think they will be, they won't necessarily be hot garbage, but they will be lukewarm garbage.
I just can't trust a team that has Kirk Neuenhuisen as their starting center fielder. And they don't even have Segura. They traded him for Aaron Hill to the Diamondbacks. So their main 280, 290 leadoff hitter isn't even on their team. So somehow they're gonna have Scooter Gennett and Aaron Hill bat in front of Ryan Braun and LaCroix. So that's why I just picked them. I just looking at their team, I'm just they ain't about to do anything. All right, the NL West. Who do you got?
I think number 1, I have San Francisco. I think they have the most balanced rotation in this division, 1 to 5, and their offensive production is really good as well. I think also not to be Juju kind of guy, but it is an even year after all.
Exactly.
Number 2, and this is my sleeper in this in the NL. I have Arizona. I think what they have going forward with the likes of Goldschmidt and Pollock and Yasmani Tomas and things like that, they have the tools there they're going to need, I think, another bat to be successful. Because I think this is going to be a team until they get that other bat, whether it be trade or free agency signing or things like that. They're going to rely heavily on Zach Greinke, Shelby Miller, Patrick Corbin, and pitchers of that nature. And it's we've seen before. You rely on pitching, it can only get you so far before you start to lose steam. Speaking of losing steam, number 3, I have the Dodgers. I've probably picked them to win the World Series at least the last 5 years, and I will get to that in a minute. I think they're losing steam. I think the age of this team is starting to catch up with them, and it's getting to the point. I think Corey Seager is going to be a nice piece. Nice to see what he can do as a rookie. I think they are just on the wrong track right now, and I think that it started when they got rid of Don Mattingly. I think, I love Dave Roberts just as much as the next Indians fan, or Red Sox fan, but I just think they're in a bad spot. Number 4 is San Diego. I mean, they have some good pitching. They have some good pieces, but they're not – they have average pieces. They have solid fourth-place pieces, but nothing more than that. And then number 5, Colorado – I think more fans are probably excited about the pot brownies at the stadium this year than what they might actually put out. Other than Mark Reynolds, I couldn't name you a Colorado Rocky. Nolan Arenado and DJ LeMahieu. I think that's about it I can name you for Rockies. I think they're going to be bad. I think I saw somebody tweeted. They have the lowest opening day ticket price in baseball. You can get in that, and through this resale app, you can get into a Rockies opening day for $30.
My God, $30.
That's $30.
Well, you save some money. You go get some pot brownies or something while you're there. But my God, $30 for opening day tickets.
It was like $35 is the lowest opening day ticket price of all 30 teams, and that was on a resale. Obviously, if you go to the Rockies website, it's probably more, but that in of itself speaks volumes.
Yeah, I mean, mine. I got the Giants number 1 basically for the same reason. It is an even year.
Yeah.
Their pitching is just unbelievable. I mean, you have Matt Cain at least as your 5th starter. And even if he struggles, you just move him to the bullpen.
When you have your number 5 starter, your number 5 starter could easily go for 15 wins. You're doing something right.
Exactly.
And the credit to the Giants, they do it right every year, but they don't make splash. They're not going out and signing the Jason Haywards of the world and things like that. They're doing it with what they have, and they're showing that if they keep the foundation in place, they can be successful.
Yeah, and they still have Hunter Pence. They got Brandon Belt. They got Joe Panic. I mean, and then they still have Buster Posey.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how you can root against them, at least in this division. I have the Dodgers at number 2. I think 2 and 3 could easily switch. I just going with the Diamondbacks. I just think they need one more bat even to get to number 2. Because I think, they still have Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers. They still have Puig. Hopefully he'll rebound from a 250 year last year. They still have Gonzalez. They have Justin Turner. I just like their lineup overall better than the Diamondbacks right now.
Yeah.
Then number 4, I have the Rockies. I think with the Rockies, and
you're putting a lot of stock in Jose Reyes.
Well, they don't even have him as the opening day shortstop.
Seriously.
But I still like Blackman. I still like LeMahieu. I like Arenado. Cargo, but he'll probably get traded sometime this year. Two players you could probably name. Ryan Rayburn made the team.
Oh!
And Tony Walters, former Indians prospect, made the team. So,
Hey man, you got to play somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
White Drew Pomeranz can make it on the Rockies. They can too. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's go with who's your NL MVP?
My NL MVP, it is Bryce Harper's to lose. I just think when you look at, excuse me, I think when you look at who's on on this team. I think Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant's your favorite for maybe next year's MVP or 2 years from now, or I think Harper wins. It's Harper's to lose, and if not Harper, I think it's Paul Goldschmidt will be in a close second, and Stanton will be there too if he's healthy.
I have Anthony Rizzo as
really
I think, especially if he's hitting whether behind or even in front of Bryant, the way they're gonna make their lineup.
Yeah.
Madden likes to hit the pitcher eighth. So you're going to have another leadoff hitter. So if, number 9 gets on, then you're probably going to have Haywood, get on, hopefully. Because last year he hit, like, 290, which I even checked it. I was like, I didn't think he would hit that.
Significantly,
They still got Dexter Fowler, who's a fairly good on-base guy. Russell, if he's hitting 9th or whatever. But I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities RBI-wise for Rizzo and Bryant. But I think what gets Rizzo is he'll probably score more runs also. And I think him being on the best team in baseball is going to help immensely.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing going back to the Cubs that nobody talks about, they've does Chris Coughlin still play for the Cubs? I think he does.
No, he's with the A's.
That's a big loss for them, I think, because they need that. They need that. That's like probably the biggest talent they lost this year, and that says something. When Chris Coughlin's your biggest piece that you lost,
exactly.
Because that was a big piece that they were going to need. But like you said, I think where Men puts Rizzo is going to be pertinent to how he performs this season.
Exactly, and they're putting Schwarber in left field. They got Dexter Fowler. They still have Jose Soler. They got Ben Zobrist. So I mean, they were just stacked. They are the embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, the only thing now, and that's this is what's going to separate them from everyone else is they need to be able to play like a World Series caliber team and not like the 100 plus win Mariners of 2000 whatever.
No, exactly.
You can get these pieces. We even saw it in Moneyball, for example, in the movie, for example, and on that pit in real life. You can get these pieces, you can win all these games, but in the end, it comes down to what you do in October. And I think that that creates legends. And you can either be a legend or you can be a bust. And so it'll be interesting to see what they can do.
All right. NL Cy Young Award.
Max Scherzer.
I either have him or a Jacob deGrom. I couldn't pick, but I have
no Jose Fernandez.
I don't know if you could say healthy, like that. That's my only thing.
Okay.
But Max Scherzer, I think. He's an easy exactly. Like I said, deGrom is probably the only. Him or Kershaw is probably the only.
I think I was reading. Scherzer, he's like the first pitcher in the baseball statistical era. I was reading this today, according to Game Score, which was developed by Bill James, who did the analytics and things like that. There's been 13 pitchers in MLB history who have achieved a game score of 100 or more in a 9-inning game, and he's done it twice. That says something about him.
Exactly.
The only person that got a higher score than him was Kerry Wood back in the 90s. But, that says something about Max Scherzer and what he does about his dominance, and that it's his to lose. I mean, it's really no contest.
All right. Who do you have as NL Manager of the Year?
I have... it's going to come out of the Central, and I think it depends on how the race plays out. If I'm going to guess one right now, I'm going to say Joe Madden, just because I think, judging by the fact that I predicted them to win the Central, I think he's going to have that opportunity to solidify himself as one of the best in the game and to take teams, two different teams to World Series in two different leagues. I think it's Joe Madden's to lose. I think, though, if the Pirates creep in and win the Central, I think it goes to Clint Hurdle. but I think the Joe Man's the odds-on favorite.
I totally agree with you. NL Rookie of the Year.
Corey Seager from the Dodgers. When you kind of look at it, there's nobody really else. I think there's a lot of bill coming in for this kid, and what he's done this spring has been very, very fun to watch. I think he'll have a nice year for the Dodgers. He'll have his ups and downs, but I think he will be extremely productive.
I again completely agree with you. The only guy I could see maybe Matz for the Mets if he's
Would he qualify?
That's what I was trying to figure out. If he does, I would.
If he qualifies, he'll be in that discussion as well, I think. But I kind of qualified it on who's going to play every day, and right now it looks like Corey Seager, and I think Corey Seager, he's according to Lindy Sports, the number 1 rated prospect to watch this year in Major League Baseball. I think it'll be fun to watch with him, and he'll put on a show for the Dodger Nation.
Yep, I completely agree with you. Okay, so let's see how does your NL playoff bracket kind of work out?
Okay, to start, I have my wild card teams. Two of the best. It's probably the best wild card teams anyone's ever seen. I have the Nationals and the Pirates as wild cards. So I have in the divisional series, I have the Giants beating the Mets, and I have the Cubs beating the Nationals. But I think it's going to go the full 5, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Nationals came out with that. In the end, I do have the Giants prevailing over the Cubs, strictly because the pitching, I think the back end of Chicago's rotation is a little bit sketchy. Like I said earlier, I think for when you're the Giants, when your number 5 starter could easily win 15 to 17 games, you're in a good spot. And we've seen with the Mets last year, pitching, you only go as far as your starting rotation will take you, and I think they have the capability to go the distance. So I have the Giants as my NL champ.
We are almost exactly on the same page. Just 2 different things. I have my 1 wild card is the Cardinals, and my 2 wild card is the Nationals.
Okay.
And I think it's a flip of a coin, whoever wins that. But I think they ultimately lose to the Cubs, and I think the Giants over the Mets. But I have the Cubs making it to the World Series and representing the National League.
Okay, all right. I'd ask you who's going to be win, but we'll do that later.
Yeah.